welcome. This is the Compendium of Discomfort. Today it's gonna be very uncomfortable, and my name is Michael, and we're gonna talk about that. And because I started the episode already, something is over there. You can see these these very friendly ladies. Maybe focus on that, not on me. Yeah, that's what we're gonna talk about, or maybe like this, or yeah, like this. What's going on? Why, girls, what's happening again? My eye is itchy. We're gonna talk about this movie that's called here Nemurubaka. And as I just found out, I didn't know that there's an international title, but on the international licensing website of Pony Canyon, it is actually called Nemurubaka Hypnic Jerks. And yeah, that's a thing. And yeah, I've got some other stuff here too, some like a magazine. Like here, as a magazine. As you can see here, there's even a manga. Look, here's a manga, and here is one more manga. This here is the original edition from a long time ago, about 20 years ago or so. And this is the new re-edition. And as you can see, it's much bigger. There are some bonus chapters. I haven't read the bonus chapters yet. I have read the original. And that's a manga by Masakazu Ishiguro. And I wasn't really aware of this person, but it's a very good manga. It's really, really nice and very wonderful and terrible and yeah. It was released from 2006, November, to 2008 in March. It's just one volume, 7 chapters plus 3 bonus chapters in this new version. And yeah, it's a very much slice of life story about 2 university students, 2 friendly ladies. One is in her last year of university, and the other one a little bit further down. So, or third year or so. I forgot. Anyway, one calls the other one Senpai. Notice me, Senpai. And she likes Senpai a lot and takes good care of her, while Senpai is very much in on a mission. Yeah, they're called a Yumi Irisu Janokte. I thought she's called Irisu. Yeah, Irisu Yumi and Kujirai Ruka. Kujirai Ruka is a whale and a dolphin, because Kujira is a whale and Iruka is a dolphin, and the I goes to the family name. Kujirai Ruka is first name, and the other one is here Irisu Yumi. And Irisu Yumi is the slightly younger student, and Ruka is the in her last year of university, because Japan is very strict about the time you spend at university. And Ruka wants to be a musician, and she plays in a band that's called where is it here Pete Moth. Seemingly, when the manga was drawn, the author saw a lot of Pete Moth with 2 S and turned it into the Moth with TH. By the way, Mosburger, if you're aware, there's a burger chain in Japan that's called Mosburger, MOS, and seemingly nobody in Japan knows that it means mountain, ocean, sun. So now you know, and you can impress your Japanese friends with your deep knowledge of Japanese culture. Let me have a sip of tea. Anyway, so yeah, we have this very nice slice of life story about these two girls who do their stuff and have conversations and some little cute episodes. And who would be better to direct something like that than, of course, Yugo Sakamoto. Last year when the movie was announced, I already mentioned it, and I was a little bit skeptical because now he got a little bit fame with his Baby Assassins, and now the next thing he does is a manga adaptation. I was like, who knows? And the first trailer came out and it was like, okay, it's basically just Baby Assassins without the action. And for a big part of it, that's kind of true. It's very obvious why Sakamoto was chosen to do this. He wasn't aware of the manga until the project came up, and then he read it. Yeah, sounds good to me. And yeah, it makes total sense that he took over this, and it represents kind of his situation in life where he is at the moment. Let's say this story about the girl who wants to be a musician is similar to his story about a boy who wants to be a movie director. And in the manga, the girl and her band, the Pete Moth, have a little bit of success. Sometimes a magazine writes about them. They play very fancy, not fancy, but quite well visited concerts and all this stuff. Here, these two ladies. No? So, anyway, so that's the basic premise. The director, I don't need to talk about him much more, right? Because we excessively talked about Yugo Sakamoto. Anyway, so let's take a small look at the cast. First, we have Shiori Kubo, who used to be or is maybe still a member of the idol group Nogizaka 46, but she was in this excellent movie River, available at Third Window Films here. Buy this, watch this, it's excellent. And yeah, Shiori Kubo was in this, and she was in the very good movie Life of Mariko in Kabukicho, which I enjoyed very much. Yeah, and now she's in this one. And then we have Yuna Taira, who is an actress who actually started at a quite young age. Interestingly, when she was in elementary school, she applied to be in the movie I Wish. In the same movie, Kana Hashimoto had her debut as an actress, and yeah, one of them became a good actress and one didn't. Yeah, this one is a good one. Yeah, no, but she was in some questionable movies as well. Maybe Sadako 3D. I haven't watched it, but I thought Real Life was quite nice, and she was in Teasing Master Takagi-san by Rikia Imaizumi, which I haven't seen yet because I thought of going to the cinema to watch it, and then I noticed it's based on a TV show, which I didn't watch, so I just went, someday. Anyway, Imaizumi is usually good, so maybe this is good too. Then we have a guy called Keto Tsuna, who was mostly in Super Sentai stuff, so that's good. Same as Kohei Higuchi, and he was in actually very good Super Sentai stuff because he was Momotaro in Avataro Sentai Don Brothers. Maybe the first tokusatsu show that really made me watch tokusatsu shows, and which I still haven't finished. I stopped at some point, and need to finish it because it's really, really, really funny and entertaining. And then, of course, you can't have a Yugo Sakamoto movie without the wonderful, amazing, more important actor than the two baby assassins, Masayuki Ino, who is essential to the work of Yugo Sakamoto. Too bad he died in Baby Assassin, so he couldn't be in the sequels, but he has his own series of movies, a legendary hitman Kunioka, and it's good to see him in a little bit bigger movie with a little bit bigger role, which he actually does quite well. So I hope this might help him getting some more jobs, even though that might stop him from making more Kunioka movies. That would be very sad, as the last one he even directed and did a quite good job there, so I wouldn't mind watching more of that stuff. Anyway, he's in here as a pretty hilarious music producer. Of course, you can't have a music story without at some point a shabby, strange producer guy showing up. Shocker. Anyway, so the cast is very nice and the movie is very nice. It delivers fully on the premise of Yugo Sakamoto kind of does Baby Assassins without the action, and you get some very cute episodes which are mostly a direct copy from the manga. He left some stuff out because it's maybe still a little bit too long, and he modernized some elements, and he struggled a bit because it's almost 20 years ago that the manga was created, so society changed a little bit. For example, the Yumi character works in a second-hand DVD bookshop, which aren't as popular as they used to be 20 years ago, because now streaming came, so he added some dialogue where an old man complains about the new streaming world. So he added some things. The manga author seemingly gave him some ideas what he could change. And then you have some quite violent scenes in the manga. For example, there's this episode where Yumi tells Ruka about her about the reason why she doesn't like sushi, and in the manga it's actually she's at the sushi restaurant, one of the chefs stabs the other one to death and the blood splatters all over her food, and in the movie it's more like she eats a scallop sushi and doesn't like it, so she kind of spits it out, and the boy next to her is like, "Oh, you don't like this, I will eat it," and that's so disgusting that she now doesn't like sushi anymore. So some stuff got a little bit nicer, a little bit friendlier. Other things, like for example, when the girls tell each other something like, "Hey, you're very important for me." In the manga, there's still a phrase like, "Oh, but I'm not a lesbian," and which was more normal, I guess, 20 years ago. I mean, depending on the place you are, that mentality is coming back, sadly. But here they just chose to skip these lines, which is a good choice. And so some things got a little bit modernized, some things just disappeared, some things were a little bit changed. For example, there's a very important scene at the beach where one of the characters, I think that's the Momotaro boy's character, tells Ruka that for him she's kind of an alien, and from that point on in the manga you see her as an alien for the rest of the scene. And they decided to change that to make it more naturalistic, so she just stays the way she is, because it would seem too over the top for a movie. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't mind that. I hoped kind of that they would do that, but instead they just play the scene out, and there's a guy with a saxophone on the beach playing music, which is nice too, and gives some very nice images. That's a very good thing here. I think Sakamoto really tried to get good, nice, beautiful images for the very relatively basic things that he's doing here, and that's very good. It's all very entertaining. Yes, some people, I read some reviews online, and of course fans of the manga are very upset about the changes, and someone said the tonality is very different, even though many of the lines are just the same. And I thought about it, and I felt like, yeah, maybe the manga is actually more on the point comedy, while the movie felt to me for a big part more of this slacker, we're talking about various things stuff. But I felt like it's still very entertaining, very funny, and didn't really mind this change at all. But yeah, it's a different take. Maybe if you're an older human like me, and you might have even read it at the time, and you have a very distinct feeling, maybe even for that period, maybe you just feel differently about this. I didn't really care, but for me it was all new, even like the manga and the movie. And but I could feel a different atmosphere here. So maybe if you're a big fan of the manga, you might be disappointed, but I guess abroad, most people don't even know the manga exists. I don't think it got an English release. So, anyway, so some slight changes here, and he did a pretty big change with the main story point, which I can't talk here about without spoiling the whole thing. So that's a problem. I will talk about this story point later in the spoiler section when we get there. So anyway, so we have these two girls. We have them having some very normal daily life stuff, like, for example, they're hungry, they don't have money to buy food, so they call this guy who seemingly is willing to drive there with his car and just park it outside, bring food and stuff, and just wine and dine them. It's pretty obvious he's in love with at least one of them, but they basically just use him to get food and a car, and stuff happens. He has this very cute anime character, Navi. Is it called a Navi in English? Probably, maybe. Like the software that tells you where to go. Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, so that's like one episode, and then Yumi gets some old video cassettes at the bookshop that a guy wants to sell, and he just gives them to her because they don't really want them, and he's like, I'm not gonna take them home, so here, take it. So they end up watching some old TV show on VHS and stuff like that. They do part-time jobs, they do this, they do that. Of course, this guy who's in love comes back with his friend to discuss the situation. There's a co-worker of Yumi who's in love with her and is a pretty silly, not very smart person. Like, he's like, oh, what are you doing today after work? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to my senpai's concert. And he's like, oh yeah, what band? And she's like, it's a Indies. Oh yeah, the Indies. I know the Indies. I've seen them in Shimon Kitazawa. And later he asks her for some song title, and she's like, yeah, you are shallow or something like that. You're a shallow idiot or something like that. So they're making fun of silly people. They have issues with their love life. They have issues with work and career and being a musician and stuff like that. And it's all very cute and nice. And at some point I stopped reading the manga because it was late in the evening. And then the next day I decided to see the movie. So I didn't read the last, I think, 2 chapters. And when the movie got to that point where I stopped reading, the whole movie was like something different. And I thought, I'm not happy about this development. I don't like this at all. This is either amazing and brilliant or just the worst crap I've seen in a long time. And I was really, really struggling and had to think about it and had to finish reading the manga. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, this is actually really, really good and makes the random episodes a coherent story and gives them a meaning and just makes this whole thing work. And even though it makes me feel terrible, it's a really, really good ending. Basically, the manga and movie go like, yeah, you're here for some nice slice of life. You know what? Fuck you. Life sucks, and now we're gonna suck too. And then the movie is over. It feels a little bit like, this stereotypical beat sheet for movies. Okay, here, Save the Cat beat sheet. I hate Save the Cat, but it helps making my point. So you have a 3-act structure. You have the opening image, the setup, the theme, the catalyst, the debate. And after that, the adventure begins. It's all based on the hero's journey, of course, and even more formulaic. And it's terrible. Don't use Save the Cat, but most people do, so it makes sense. And it helps me to make my point. Anyway, Act 2, you've got a break into 2. So I guess that's the start of point 2. The B story, fun and games, midpoint, bad guys close in, all is lost, dark night. And then you have Act 3, break into 3, the finale and the final image. And this whole idea is like, everything goes up, gets better, and then you have the midpoint where everything goes down and everything gets bad, and the heroes have to fight to get where they wanna be, and in the end everything turns out well. And this movie feels like it gets to this midpoint, goes, fuck you, I'm over. And let's have another sip of tea. More random ideas before we get to the spoiler part. Since it's a music story, the music is actually really important, and this is actually the cover of the soundtrack which I bought, and the soundtrack is really, really good. They got the guitar player of Nekrai Toki, a very fun band, and their bassist is really, really cool, but they are a little bit, they try a little bit too hard to be cute, which can be a little bit annoying if you listen to too much of their music. But anyway, they asked their guitar player to write the songs for Pete Moss. There are two there. One is, of course, the title song Nemurubaka, and the other one is called Nonai Noise, maybe? So, like, noise in your brain. And, there's some other songs, but he wrote these two. The Brain song actually reminded me quite a lot of his band's music, even though it's weirder, more playful, and a little bit noisier, and really, really good. And the title song is less his band style, at least from what I know of his band. But it's more of the hit song, and still very good, and seemingly for the emotional scene in the movie when the song is played, they actually, if I understood that correctly, re-recorded it so the voice is a little bit more breaking and struggling, and just being more appropriate for that scene. Without spoiling too much, of course, it's a title song. It's very important for this story, so that's very good. Like I said, the episodes feel here a little bit more like a coherent story. It makes a little bit more sense. It's all a little bit modernized, a little bit changed, but mostly it keeps up what it's supposed to do. So I think, besides some hardcore fans of the manga, it's most people will be happy. It's a very good adaptation of the source material, and it's far away enough to have its own reason to exist, but it's close enough to capture what makes the manga good, and I think that worked out very, very well. So good job, Yugo. Well done. And I would highly recommend this movie. Just be ready for a very unsatisfying ending. Seemingly there's a manga that continues the story of Luca, if I understood that correctly. I need to check the author's work more, but seemingly there's another story about her, and I will have to read that and find that. I will check if what I say is true, but I hope so. Anyway, so if you're ready to have a little bit different ending from what you are used to be, maybe a little bit too much reality in your slice of life, then you will like this very much, and I hope you will like it even if you're unhappy with that ending. But to talk more about that, I guess I got my point across, that it's a very, very good movie that's very worth watching. So let's get to the spoilers and everything that's like important here. The big important change compared to the manga, and so on. So in the manga, in the first chapter, which used to be a standalone one-shot story, and which then got continued somehow, everything is focused on this song, Nemurubaka. We have this episode where they're hungry, they invite this guy, he brings food, they drink, and while he and Yumi are drunk, Luca steals his car and his money and drives around with this very maid-like waifu Navi. And she drives around, she gets to the beach and gets stuck there, and Yumi comes to help her. We have this sushi conversation, and in the manga, Luca tells her the secret of the song. Like, everybody tells her, hey, this is such an amazing song, it's so brilliant, it's so wonderful, and she's very unhappy about this because she feels like she didn't write it. And let's leave it at that. And that's just like a little throwaway thingy in the manga. And later, her whole reason to do what she does is that she wants to be a musician, and that's like visualized by a huge wall which she tries to penetrate. And like always, little bit more, it's a little bit more. The hole gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but she doesn't know when she gets through, and if she gets through someday. So she's the one with the goal, while the other one is just like, I don't know what to do with my life. Maybe I will just make an udon shop. And so she's very driven by this goal of being a musician. But that's then the big change in the movie. So in the movie, this secret is not explained until the end, and the movie completely, for the purpose of making it a little bit more real, ignores this wall thing. So there's still a dialogue that refers to that, like, hey, you've got an idea of your own skill and the limitations of your skill, and how to whether or not you can actually achieve your goals, something like that. So basically he suggests, why don't you just give up? And she keeps going. And anyway, so in the manga you have this wall analogy, I guess that's the word, maybe. And in the manga it's all based on her, in the movie it's all based on her dissatisfaction with not really having written this hit song herself, and kind of having stolen it. And that's what drives her here, like which gives her a lot of displeasure, and like she's not satisfied with her work as an artist, and she doesn't know how to reach the goal. This is what limits her here. So the focus is here more on this idea that, hey, I didn't do my greatest work all by myself, while the other one's like, hey, there's a wall, I've got to get through the wall. And basically at some point this music producer comes here, Masayuki Ino in the movie, and says, hey, we want you. We don't want your band. We want only you. In the manga, the band is very much irrelevant. She goes to that meeting all alone. And in the movie, they actually gave the band a little bit screen time, and they're very funny. And they join her for this meeting until they are being told, hey, you're actually not welcome. It's very cute that you came here like a school band with your instruments, but we are not talking to you. We're just talking to her. And they are all like, good luck. We are out of here. We won't stop you. We won't blame you if you do that. And then we basically have an offer that she can become an idol. And the movie takes a turn that's basically, imagine you're watching Baby Assassins, and Mahito gets told, hey, if you kill your friend, you get a big ass promotion and you can fulfill all your dreams. And she takes a gun and shoots her in the face. Because that's what's happening here. She takes the deal, she leaves the band, she leaves her friend, she leaves everyone, she breaks up with everyone, and that's the point where it's clear it's actually a relationship story, even though she was like, hey, I'm not a lesbian, but it actually plays out like a love story. That's like a university love story, and at that age, it happens quite often that real life, reality, adult life catches up with you and takes you out, and you break up because there's an opportunity you have to take that you can't just ignore. And that's what she does, and breaks up with everyone. It's heartbreaking and horrible and terrible, kind of understandable, even though she invites them all to her concert, and that was one thing where I felt like the movie failed a tiny bit, because now she's this pop idol who's on stage alone with like music, like just playing, and she's singing. And like Yumi is very, very not happy about this music. She was like, hey, your old band was so much better, and for this you left me, you left them, you left us, you stopped making good music, you sold out, you're this evil, the tool of the evil music demons, basically. And that's a really, really horrible thing. And I feel like the movie failed a tiny bit, because these pop songs, I totally agree with her. She should have kept playing the other music because it's much better, but they're not bad enough. I felt like it should have been worse. Yeah, kind of. But yeah, it's all okay. It works out. And of course, then we have the climax when she takes out her guitar and plays the Nemurubaka under her real name, which is in the manga a much bigger deal, because she's being told like, you can't use your real name because stuff. But here she just does it, shouts out her name and plays the song, and actually acknowledges the people who were involved in writing it, or the one person who was involved in writing it without knowing it, and runs away and is gone, and that's it, and that's the story. And we get a little small epilogue with just Yumi at home in her dormitory with a new roommate, and now she's the senpai, and it's kind of cute. And that's when it's relatively explicit that basically this was a love story, and they didn't even notice it. This whole song is all about how Ruka sees Yumi, and in the story there's this whole Dasaikuru, so Dasai and cycle, so the uncool cycle, which is basically you create something, you get what is it? Brown-nosed for it? I don't know. Brown-nosed or complimented is a more fitting word here. And because you get complimented, you make more of your bad art, and so on. And that is a never-ending circle of bad stuff. And that's maybe something she just got in here. But at the same time, it's something where she had to make a choice. Like, hey, that's her chance to be a musician. Maybe it helps her in the end to get where she wants to be and actually play her own music. Who knows? At least it's some choice where, like, after university, you have to do something with your life and you have to make decisions. And maybe that's still better than working a regular job. Who knows? And that's the parallel that Sakamoto drew to his career. Like, the manga was drawn when the author was in his 20s. He's still just in his 20s, late 20s. And he's at the same point where he's like, I mean, now I had the success. I guess now I've got to do like stuff like manga adaptations. And I wouldn't be surprised if he dives a little bit more into the commercial filmmaking, like even more than this one, which isn't even bad, but it's maybe a point for a little compromise, being an adult and stuff like that. So who knows? I feel like he didn't really compromise. It feels very much like one of his movies. Obviously the least violent movie he has done. But like the whole mentality and everything that's going on is very much his style, his aesthetic. Even the acting reminds a little bit of Baby Assassins, the dynamic. it makes sense that he made this movie. It's very good. And if you are at the point that you feel like, yeah, this ending actually makes sense and puts everything else in perspective, and it's just this part of life where things end and new things start, and you've got to go through it if you want to get somewhere. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and it makes sense that someone in his 20s wrote this, because he was probably feeling the same. And yeah, it's very unsatisfying to see this big breakup, because at the same time, she's definitely the cooler of the two people, and she's not just breaking up with her girlfriend and her band, but she's breaking up with the viewer. Like, no, Baby Assassin is a thing that just keeps going and going, and they will most likely live forever, and just get closer and closer and closer. And here it starts a little bit like the first Baby Assassin. They live together, they get along very well. I would say they're a little bit closer here, maybe more like in the second one. And you feel like, oh my god, this is going somewhere, and then yeah, one of them just says, nope, I'm out of here. Not for me. It's hard, it's reality, it's not very fun, but yeah, makes sense. Gotta live with it, I guess. I'm really, really sure next time I watch it, and I'm sure I will watch it in the cinema again. Sadly, I missed the screening where like director and cast and all came, because I saw them promoting the event in Hiroshima but not in Osaka. So I watched it on Saturday, and on Sunday they had the event with cast and crew and everything. And anyway, yeah, too bad, but very good movie. I will watch it again in the cinema. I will probably enjoy it much more, because first I know what's coming. I know I have to pick up some more hints, because Sakamoto said in an interview that he actually hinted at the beginning that Luca would go away, and I didn't really notice that. I must watch it again. So I think this has a lot of rewatchability. Like I said, the first time I watched it, I was like, not sure about that one, but first time I watched Baby Assassin, I was not sure about that one for other reasons. I just thought the girls are too annoying, and here they're just wonderful and pretty great. But yeah, just and yeah, we're not ending unhappy. We're ending on a very happy note here. Look at them again, and here be happy. And oh, here we have with the boys. So look at this, isn't it lovely? Thank you very much as usual for watching. Watch the movie, and see you next time.